Tonight we've been tracking the procession and funeral of fallen Sergeant Joshua Clouse, an emotional day across Central Texas. Plus, mutilated cattle confusing investigators as the story grows over the state of Texas.
And we have warmed up a bit today. Any thunderstorm activity staying out to the west at least the next couple of days, but by Friday evening, we may have a better chance for a few showers and thunderstorms around here. Your 25 News starts right now.
Grieving one of their own after a search warrant ends in a Cameron police officer and a suspect, both dead.
This is a small and it is a quiet community. However, last night it was anything but.
Not only does an agency grieve, but a whole nation grieves.
It's very tragic and very terrible day.
The other night after being shot, talking to the men that were there, they said he never stopped smiling. He never stopped smiling. He should have been in incredible pain, but he never stopped smiling. I got you. It's okay.
Funeral services there for Sergeant Joshua Clouse wrapping up a little less than an hour ago. The last call over the radio playing out and then a final salute. 25 News anchor Lauren Adams joins us live tonight in Bell County. Lauren, some very powerful moments this afternoon.
Todd, it was a very emotional day. You can see all of the people behind me who showed up just to say their goodbyes to Sergeant Clouse, who of course lost his life last week in the line of duty. As you said, they had the funeral inside and then they came outside for the 21 gun salute and then to give the flag to his widow and his two sons. Sergeant Clouse was a very religious man. He was a deacon at his church. He even led the teen youth group. So today, his pastor, Brad Dusenberry, led the service. He said that Clouse once told him when he dies, he wanted the funeral not to be about him, but to be about Jesus. He said Josh loved what he did. He loved his Christian brothers and his fellow officers and his firefighters. And he said he loved his two sons. Then his pastor told a story about going to tell Sergeant Clouse's boys that their father was killed in the line of duty.
She had gone up to the hospital and she had me go over to tell the boys what had happened. Josh adored those boys. I explained to the boys what had happened, that their daddy had been shot and he had gone home to be with Jesus. And of course they cried. You know what the first thing Jonathan said was? I am so thankful to have had him for a daddy for 18 years.
Yeah, as you can imagine, just a very emotional service. The pastor thanked the officers there today for their service to our community. He said, especially during these crazy times in America. Now, he says that Sergeant Clouse never did anything halfway through. He was just learning how to fly airplanes. And he said today he is flying high. Now, my coworker, Jarrell Baker, is in Cameron, the community that Sergeant Clouse was protecting when he lost his life. Let's go to him now for more from that town. Jarrell?
Yeah, Lauren, I'm standing right out here in front of the Cameron Police Department, in front of the decorated cruiser for the fallen officer. And if you were here earlier, you would have saw not only this area, but several areas all across the city just out here as the processional happened and all of the vehicles came by just to wish their hero goodbye one last time. Now, there were several agencies that were a part of that, and there are agencies that were from near and far. Not only that, just first responders, all to pay their respects. And I was talking with some of the residents, and they told me that Sergeant Clouse was well known in this area. People near and far have several memories of him doing good and also doing service here in the community.
A lot of them knew who he was and was impacted by him and talked about how they had such great encounters with him.
Now, 16 churches will be coming together to put a private event on right after that funeral service, just to give food to the family and close friends and also give them comfort during this tough time. Lauren, back to you.
Yeah, and just really a top-notch service today, Todd. They had a flyover at the end just for a top-notch man, according to what everyone says. And coming up tonight at 6 o'clock, he knew the dangers that he faced that day. His pastor talked about it because he spoke to the men who were beside him right before he passed away. We're going to have that story for you coming up tonight at 6, but for now, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right, Lauren. Well, there are a few different ways to support the family at this time. There's an auction next month, June 14th at 6 p.m. at the Little River Event Center in Cameron. All proceeds will go to the family. There's also a GoFundMe campaign. So far, they've raised more than $9,000. The goal is $25,000. We have a link to that over on our website, kxxv.com. One of 5 law enforcement officers from Central Texas killed in the line of duty in only the past few years. Trooper Chad Walker was killed in March of 2021 by DeArthur Pinson. Walker left behind a wife and 3 kids. Trooper Damon Allen was shot and killed during a traffic stop in Freestone County on Thanksgiving 2017. The suspect in that case was sentenced to life. Allen left behind a wife and 3 kids. And Trooper Thomas Nipper died in a crash while conducting a traffic stop in Temple in November of 2017. He also left behind a wife and 3 children. The Officer Down memorial page says 246 officers died in the line of duty last year. 35 were from Texas. COVID-19 and gunfire were the leading causes of on-duty deaths for the past 2 years.
In this instance, we know something mysterious is happening to animals, to cows in Texas, and we'd like to help people figure out what that is.
6 cows mutilated in a mysterious way are still raising a lot of questions in parts of Central Texas and the Brazos Valley tonight. 15 ABC anchor Diamond Dixon is on the case, following up.
Madison County Sheriff's Office reported in Brazos County. Diamond Dixon, 25 News.
Well, closer to home, it's been 8 years to the day since the Twin Peaks shootout happened in Waco. You may remember back in 2015, the shootout erupted in the parking lot of the now-closed Twin Peaks restaurant. It began with rival motorcycle clubs, the Bandidos and the Cossacks, and later police joined in. 9 died, many more were injured. Despite 104 indictments, the criminal cases were all dismissed except for one, where the defendant was found not guilty. In the middle of an intense shortage, Central Texas bilingual in English as a second language, or ESL teachers, are getting some big recognition today. 25 News reporter Andrew Lemparski joins us now. Andrew, just how bad is this shortage?
Yeah, Todd, we hear about teacher shortages all the time, but this one has been growing since the 90s. 1 in 5 students in Texas have a first language other than English, but districts are struggling to find the number of staff needed to serve them.
Meet Crisol Villa Flores, second grade bilingual teacher, but that work is far from over.
And it's not a shortage that can just be pinned down to a few languages either. In Region 12, which covers most of Central Texas, students speak over 100 different languages. We'll have more on the shortages and its impact on local students coming up at 6 and 10. Andrew Lamparski, 25 News.
All right, Andrew. Groesbeck ISD is running out of federal funding for its Communities in Schools program. Now that program is coming to an end. The 2-year program providing a campus social worker who works with students and their families.
There's going to be a huge void by not having communities in schools in our classrooms. The students are going to miss out on having that special extra advocate, but I want them to know that we have wonderful counselors, wonderful administrators, and wonderful teachers that are going to do everything possible to fill in that void.
At 6, we'll hear from a family benefiting from that very program, why they say not having it could be devastating. Coming up next, we're keeping a close eye on the border on this evening. Governor Abbott asking for aid, and some are lending a hand from Florida and Idaho and elsewhere. We'll explain.